Hello, this is Dorie Hruska with Forever Quilting. This video is all about how I quilted the baby quilt from my StarDazzle pattern. It's a different layout than the larger sizes, so I wanted to share with you my process for how I did the quilting. These techniques can also be found in my book, Making Connections. Okay, let's dive right in. Every time I start a new quilt, I plan out the quilting path and I try to make it as continuous as possible. Most frequently asked questions I get are how do I decide on the designs and how do I keep track of the path? So sometimes I use a heavy piece of plastic like this and lay it over a section of the top. But my most favorite tool is this roll of plastic. It measures 20 inches wide and it fits between the bars on my machine, so it's across the whole width when the quilt is loaded on the machine. I also cover the edges with this blue painter's tape. This helps prevent me from accidentally drawing onto the top. Now I can use a dry erase marker and draw out the different designs, adding feathers or hearts in this case. For this quilt I decided to use a heart theme, so I've got hearts added here in the diamonds. I've also got hearts here in this square, and then I've decided to do double curves to connect everything together, and I've left open these darker colors here just to give your eye a place to rest. Now that I've drawn all the designs on my plastic, I can move that to the side and then begin my quilting. Because I plan to quilt this top very heavily, I've decided to do it in 2 passes versus doing it all at once and then having my fabric shrink up on me. So as you can see here, I've gone through and quilted a small amount of the quilting all the way through the top. So I've done some straight lines here with some feathers on the sides. And I've gone through and stitched in the ditch these darker areas that I'm going to leave blank. And then I put a pin in the center just to hold this together so that it doesn't shift on me. Now that I'm on 2 rollers, I can roll this quilt back and forth, and the rest of my designs are totally continuous. They'll all be connected. So I can roll, quilt a little bit, roll some more until I'm completely done with the quilting. Now in my first pass, I came through and did this straight line and did one side of my feathers. And I'm coming back and doing the other side of my feathers. And at the same time, I can jump in here and do these blocks and reach into the center of this block and quilt the designs there also. I'm going to stop here and kind of comment on this middle area here. It's very poofy. Sometimes with this polyester batting you get a lot of extra loft there. So I'm going to actually stitch the center of this block first before I stitch all the way around it. And that will help kind of contain the fullness into these sections. There is just a little bit of stitching in the ditch, and that's in order to make this continuous all the way around. So I need to stitch up this side here. Now this heart design I'm putting in the diamond is from one of my diamond design books, and it's only goes in one direction, so that's why I'm doing a little ditching, traveling one way, and doing more ditching to get all the way around the block. Now the rulers I'm using for the stitching in the ditch are from the Quilted Pineapple. This is the 5-inch, the 5-inch straight ruler, the small one. Now if you feel comfortable, you can come back here and do the little spikes in between these without a ruler, or if you need to, you can also use a ruler to go around them. Now I haven't stitched this block yet, and this is the only time I can at this point because I'll have stitched all the way around it, so I need to catch it now. Whole block is done. We're going to move on to some more of these feathers and then travel around to the next area. Now I could easily keep going with my feathers on each side, but now I'm going to go over here and capture this block because I'm actually working from the left side of my long arm all the way over to the right side of my long arm. before I come back along the bottom side and get back to where I started. So in these dark pink areas and these lighter pink areas, I'm doing double curves. And in these really light pink areas, I'm doing a single curve with a couple curls in it. Now I've got a pin over here, and that was to remind me that I had forgot to stitch in the ditch a certain section of this, so I'm probably when I get up to here, I'm going to do the ditching that I forgot. If you ever forget a section, go in there and put a pin in so that you can remember to catch it the next time. Now the center of this block is done, so I'm going to keep traveling down here. Because of this being really poofy, and before I stitch the little squares on each side, I like to go down the center and stitch the curves and the curls. Bobbin thread, so we're going to change that. As you can see, I've gone all the way over to the edge of the quilt here, and I'm going to make my way back to the right to go all the way back to where I started. I do have another row here underneath, but I'm going to go all the way back to the right, then come down another row and keep going. All of this is continuous. Even the little straight lines and the feathers and the stitching the ditch that I did on my first pass, that was all continuous too. You can see right here I jumped in just with one curve around this block to reach my ditching, and then I came back. So even my first pass was all continuous. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel on YouTube so you don't miss the next video coming out soon.